Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of ROC Podcast Nation with yours truly at Real Mike Bell and my buddy over there,
Ryan R. Gas.
That's right, the one and only. Hey, can you hear me with your headphones like that? Or are you good to go?
I can hear you.
Guys, what's up? This has been a big last couple weeks here for the conservative movement in this country. Shit's flying off the walls, man. And I'm just glad that I'm here today to be able to talk to you guys about that. In Rock Nation, without you, there is no us. Without, Ryan and I like to say, right, we could sit here, it's like a forest, right? You cut down a tree in the forest and no one's there to hear it. Did they really cut down a tree? So with all that being said, Rock Nation, thank you guys for coming. For our founding members and our supporters, thank you guys for sticking around. And if you don't know anybody that's a founding member right now, go ahead and invite somebody. Bring some people over to the show. And last plug of the episode, real quick, head over to YouTube, ROC Podcast Nation, and it's super simple, 3 words, ROC Podcast Nation. As of what, Ryan, like the past at least 10, 12, 13, 14 episodes, there's a bunch of episodes out there. Once Ryan and I realized that we were going to take this to the next level and go full blown, no holds barred, invest what we have, invest everything we have into this movement. We said we can't do it alone, and we brought on a video guy, and he'll come on the episode from time to time. He's kind of he balances Ryan and I out a little bit. I guess you could say that, right?
Oh yeah.
But for like the past 10, 15 or so episodes, we've been launching the video companion to the podcast, and that's over there at ROC Podcast Nation on YouTube. So make sure you get over there, guys. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and make sure you're sharing it around. So with all that being said, thank you for sticking around. Ryan, man, it's been a busy week.
It has, dude.
So
that's like every week though. I feel like we get here and the week's almost over. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
And every week, man, I'm like, I say it too. I know you've heard me say it, but I'm like, next week I think I'm gonna try to chill a little bit, try to relax, and that never happens. Yeah. Tomorrow never comes. Next week never comes. Next week's always the next busiest week.
It is. It never slows down, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. I'm not complaining.
That means you're charging toward progress.
Yep.
Right. It's the people that have more time than they know what to do with that are people like what we're going to talk about today. All right. It's those kind of people that have nothing better to do than to sit around and watch other people do awesome stuff that have that time. That next week seems to come around sooner than they thought, right? And I really don't have a lot of room for that in my life, man. I used to just, work my job, and then I'd get home, and one day I saw this meme on Facebook that said, and I ended up sharing, this is years ago, and I wish I would have stuck more closely to this, but I saw this meme that said, for somebody who says you don't have any time to go to the gym, you sure do know a lot about what's on TV.
Yep.
This guy right here, Ryan Gass, told me his phone was on silent. You guys heard me ask him if his phone was on silent. He's like,
phone.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was that phone.
Oh, that's right, guys. Hey, just so you know, we are running Facebook Live again. We're trying to bring that back. So, hey, check us out, guys, on Thursday nights, sometime between 5 and 8. We do go live. Actually, it's more like 5 to 10. Ryan and I, as you guys know, if you guys have been following the show, we do record kind of several episodes all in one day. Normally it's on Thursday, and we try to get those out the next week. We're always a couple days behind, and if something emerging comes up, we'll generally record on the spot, and then we'll get that out the next day. But as you know, we are now on Facebook Live. So if you're seeing us on Facebook Live, guys, make sure to comment down there. Ryan's monitoring it on his computer, on his phone also, and we'll engage there, guys. But what I want to talk about today, Ryan, is this. So I'm going to try to phrase this the right way, because I don't want any kind of miscommunication about what I'm about to say. All right. Are you familiar with grifting and grafting?
Those are some odd words. I never heard those words before.
Yeah. So essentially, and let me make sure I pull up the right definition here, but grafting essentially means receiving any profit gain or advantage from any foreign or domestic government while you're in a position of power. Essentially, what is that? Jeez, you got to throw that son of a bitch on mute, man. No, grafting is essentially self-dealing or using official power to line your own pockets. All right. Now, during the Trump administration, well, let's just be real, guys. A lot of politicians have done this. A lot of politicians are victim or should be held accountable for using their political position to make lots of money, right? And there is the emoluments clauses in the Constitution and other laws like that that prohibit the president from receiving any profit gain or advantage from any foreign or domestic government. And it all kind of boils down to what we like to call anti-corruption laws. You following, Ryan? Kind of making sense, right? So most politicians, most presidents they all kind of, and even at your local level, right? Your senators and stuff like that, they all kind of fall victim to this a little bit, right? And most of the time you can kind of just like brush it off your shoulders because it's not really that big of a deal. Where this was really called into attention lately and where you see it, and this is why it's not as, I guess, widely viewed or widely known about, not a lot of people talk about it, is this. Most presidents, and when they come into office, have been a politician. Not many of them are business owners, right? Or they're not well-known business owners. Donald Trump, however, entered the White House as a billionaire, right? A business owner. So it was almost impossible for him to avoid not profiting while he was in the office, right? So it's like this, Ryan, and I'm going to use a very simple thing to explain this. And it's kind of like, you know, it's relevant news, right? Joe Biden, his son, Hunter Biden get in that position over there in Ukraine was grafting. It was grifting. All right. He borrowed authority from his dad, the big guy.
So grifting's indirectly.
It's grifting and grafting. They're kind of the same thing. I'm just going to use them interchangeably.
I want to make sure, is grifting and grafting the same thing, or is grifting, because the way you sound, because like I said, I'm learning a little bit. Grifting is more or less indirect, like a son or a cousin or a friend or whatever. Grafting, it would be Biden himself.
I think they're one in the same. Yeah. I would need to look that up, Ryan. Maybe when I'm telling a story, you can pull it up real quick and just do difference between grift or graft. But essentially what Hunter Biden did, he leveraged his father's position to gain money. All right. That's kind of an example of it. Another example of it was Trump. Under Trump's administration was his family, right? Ivanka, Jared Kushner, Donald J. and Eric, right? They all ran businesses during the Trump administration. So one could look at that and say, okay, your company gained value because of your association with the president of the United States. Does that make sense? You're tracking, right? You guys tracking, Rock Nation? All right. So now let's kind of fast forward through the Trump administration and let's get into our current administration. I was just talking about what happened with Hunter Biden, right? Joe Biden is essentially, and the way that they can kind of squint their eyes and blur the lines with this a little bit is if you look at what they try to say is it has to do with from foreign or domestic governments, right? Like you can't receive any profit gain or advantage from any foreign or domestic government. All right, whatever. But you also in these anti-corruption laws, that was the emoluments clauses, right? Those really associate with just the president, right? And that is why, guys, if you remember, what did Donald Trump have to do when he took office?
Didn't he sell or give up his hotel at the old post office in Washington, D.C. or no? What he did was he gave up control of his companies. Okay.
He was no longer just to placate the masses. He said, I'm stepping away. Donald Jr., they have complete control of my companies now. I'm no longer doing that. So you couldn't associate Donald Trump, the president, with Donald Trump, the business owner anymore. Right. That's how he had to separate it. Okay. Now, but his kids were able to run around and do what they did. But this is what I wanted to hit on today, guys. A part of it. And again, we're going to talk about other stuff as the night goes on. But what I wanted to talk about today was something I saw, and it was it was like a hit, and then it was gone. All right. What I saw was I don't even remember if I was watching this on TV or if I was reading a magazine or where I saw this at. But I saw a still image. I think it was from the AP or no, it was from Reuters. All right. And essentially what it was just a picture of a backpack, some like hygiene stuff, right? Like toothpaste and stuff like that. And then a book. All right. And this is a welcome package to all of these illegal children that are coming into the United States. All right. Guess who wrote that book? And if you haven't heard about Ryan, I know you're busy. You probably aren't aware of this, but guess who wrote the book?
Probably Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Herself?
Yeah, yes. It's called, I think it's called Superheroes Are Everywhere. All right. But
you serious?
Yeah.
So then like probably the US government probably bought like them in bulk.
We'll get to that.
Wow.
All right. So Kamala Harris actually did a 3-book deal with the publishing house. All right. And that was worth somewhere around $500,000 plus royalties on every book that's sold. All right. Well, this is the way it works. All right. So now I'm going to get into the nitty gritty with you and with ROC Nation here. Okay.
Nitty gritty of the grifting and grafting.
This is it. Exactly.
As Chris said, the flim flamming.
That's it. Give me a minute to take a taste of that tasty beverage that Ryan so graciously brought to the bunker tonight.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, that's the good stuff. Yeah, it's basic light beer. I know, kind of. But he called me on the phone. He's like, what are we doing? We doing heavy tonight? I said, dude, just keep it on the light variety. It's going to be a long night. Hey, check it out, guys. By the time this releases, there will be a YouTube video out. I don't know what episode it is. Let me pull it up real quick. This is, I think it's the episode we do on marijuana, and it'll be coming out. Yeah. But there's an intro to that episode. It's a little bit of shenanigans. You can only see it on YouTube. All right. So make sure you're over there on the YouTube channel. Yeah. Make sure you're on the YouTube channel, ROC Podcast Nation. You're going to see some funny shit on the intro to that episode. All right. And on the outro too. So make sure you go over there and you check that out, guys. For if you were there, you already know what I'm talking about. But if you weren't
there, you're there. If you know, you know.
That's right. But all right. This is the nitty gritty. So, don't you think it's funny? And not funny. It's not even suspicious. It's just like ironic, right? Don't you kind of find it ironic that every president, every vice president always writes a book, right? Don't you think it's kind of funny that all these politicians, when they enter office, are broke jokes just like me and you, and then they come out millionaires?
Yeah.
Don't you think that's funny?
Well, like I said it last week, I think it was, how has Joe Biden and even Steny Hoyer, and there's other ones too, but Joe Biden and Steny Hoyer, how have they been career-long politicians since the 70s? How they've been career-long politicians since the 70s, and they're multi-millionaires. Multi-millionaires. You know, even if you are the best person with your money and you stow your money away, because they make a shit ton of money in Congress and shit. Don't they make like $1.75 or something like that? They make pretty good money and shit. And they're always trying to fight to get more money. But anyway, how are they multi-millionaires? Not like a millionaire, because honestly, it's not too crazy hard. If you bust your ass, it's not too crazy hard to be a millionaire if you're smart with your money. You know, when you're 60, 70, 80 years old. Was Joe Biden 77, 78?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Long story short, it's not hard to be a millionaire by the time you're 70 if you
especially if your spouse is working.
But being like if you're worth, how are you worth over $10 million and all you've done in your life has been politician? Well, how?
So Joe Biden is 78 years old. All right,
multi-million dollars.
Yeah, and his wife is also wealthy.
Isn't she like a part-time teacher too?
Well, I mean, she's a PhD. I mean, she's doctor.
It doesn't matter if you're PhD. She's a part-time teacher.
Yeah, but she was a full-time teacher for a long time.
It doesn't matter. Teacher nonetheless.
Dude, bro, when you're 78 years old, do you want to be a full-time teacher?
No, but I'm saying...
No, you want to work and then retire.
Well, what I'm saying is, how is a career politician and a part-time, full-time teacher, even full-time teacher, a career politician and full-time teacher, how are they multi-millionaires?
Oh, yeah. No, I get that. I understand that. Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm going to tell you how. Can you guess?
Oh, I know. Grifting and grafting.
Grifting and grafting, baby.
Flimming and flamming.
Flim flam. That's right. All right. So the book deals. All right. Let me tell you about the book deals. Let me get it. Let me go down this rabbit hole with you guys. This is the rabbit hole I was going down the other day. As y'all know, I like to get in a twiddle my thumb mode and just kind of like just pester the government the best I can. But what I did, I started going down this rabbit hole about book deals and how these politicians, well, it's like, okay, how are you making money? Well, and at the onset of before we even launched the podcast, Ryan, I was looking into Joe Biden and his finances and all this other shit. And I saw that him and his wife were getting paid upwards of $500,000 for 45-minute to an hour and a half long speeches at these colleges surrounding the Beltway.
Who's this, Obama?
Biden and his wife.
Oh,
Obama did it also.
But he gets much more higher rate.
Yeah. You know, it's like Lil Wayne. Who's the new guy, right? Any new rapper, right? It doesn't matter. G-Eazy, any of those guys.
If they're not Lil Wayne, they don't matter.
Well, nah. So they go to a club just for showing up to the club. They get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Politicians the same way. They show up somewhere, they're getting paid to be there. All right. But
much more money in politics, though.
yeah. Well,
Lil Wayne needs to run for president.
well, The Rock. Dude, did you see that your best friend, Caitlyn Jenner, she's running for governor?
He's running for governor of California.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
She's running for governor of California.
He is.
But
that's my man right there.
That's your girl, all right.
That's my man.
Prejudice.
Prejudice.
Yeah, nah, Ryan's just messing with you guys. he loves you.
We're going to delete it from YouTube for that one.
He loves you guys. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, they use their celebrity appeal and they go and they run. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger did it also, but Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually a pretty good governor for.
But he won the same way. He ran and won
in a recall.
In a recall, and so is
Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
But anyhow, guys, we're flim-flamming here. So the book deal, all right? This is what happens, okay? A publishing house, they already know. They've done this for so long, they've got it already all figured out, okay? What happens is a publishing house goes up to a vice president or president or even a speaker of the house or that type, right? Or even a prolific colonel or general or somebody like that, right? They always do that. Somebody that is going to end up being a contributor on Fox News or CNN or as who says it? MSLSD, is that what your boy Chris Plant says?
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but
MSDNC.
Any of them guys, right? But what they do is these publishing houses go up to them and they say, "Hey, let's get you on a book deal. We'll give you hundreds of thousands of dollars for free. In fact, we'll even mostly write the book for you.
Yeah.
We just want to put your name on it, right? And then we'll give you royalties on every book that's sold after that." Well, these books that they make, they're essentially garbage, right? I mean, they're monologues and this and that, and they're whatever. I mean, some people like to buy that stuff. Some people like to buy them and then have them signed.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, keepsakes, whatever.
I wonder how much Kamala charges for you to sign one of her books.
I don't even know, but what I'm getting at here is, all right, the book story. So what happens is they go and they get on these book deals, all right? And then the publishers, they know they're going to suck, right? They know it's going to suck, but they float this large cash up front to these politicians. Right?
Well, they probably contribute to their campaigns too.
They also contribute to campaign, right? But the reason why the publishing house does this, dude, there was a time in my life. So for those of you guys that don't know, and over on Exclusive, I get more into my personal life a little bit, but I'm a avid reader. I read tons of stuff all the time. And a lot of that is fantasy stuff, right? I read a lot of fantasy books. And there was a period
always fantasizing.
That's it. And there was a period in my life where I actually wanted to write a book. I wrote like a chapter or two, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to write a novel. I did this blueprint, all this stuff for the novel and all that shit. Well, then I started investigating how hard it really is to get published, all right? And how much money there really is in it. And it just didn't seem to make sense to me. There was no cost break even for me. So I didn't do it. But what I'm saying is I know how hard it is to get in because publishers want to guarantee that they're going to make money on your book. Oh, yeah. And if not, you're one of those guys who has a basement full of books that you can't sell. All right. But these publishers know, okay, that the book is not going to do well. So how, Ryan, if I asked you, I said, Ryan, I know you need a new truck. You're thinking about possibly getting a new truck. Your truck's got a lot of miles on it. You're thinking about getting a new truck. If I walk up to you and if you come to me, you're like, hey, Mikey, I want to buy a truck, right? And I say, hey, go get this Bammer right here. That's not good for anything. You're just not going to pay me for that truck, right? Because I don't know how to fucking design a truck, right? But GMC, Ford, they know how to design a truck. You're going to go to somebody who knows. So as a book publisher, why would you go to somebody who has no idea what they're doing and invest money that you're not going to get back? Unless you're going to get the money back. Now, how does that happen? That, my friends, is where the rabbit hole begins, okay? So what happens is this. So you have these super PACs. You have the RNC and the DNC, and you have all these different super PACs that what they do. So I'm Kamala Harris. I sign this book deal. I get $500,000 in cash given to me, plus royalties on all the books that are sold. I know the book's going to tank. And then the DNC goes in with their massive coffers and all of their donors and everything else like that. And they buy up all the books, Ryan. So just like that, the publishers know. They're like, well, we're not going to be able to sell any of these books.
What happened also, I don't want to take off track, but it happened in Baltimore, the mayor and stuff. She had written some children's books and had a deal with I think it was the University of Maryland, right? Long story short, that's how she ended up as part of the reason why she ended up in jail. Because of her fraud and her
exactly. And I was going to get to that.
Yeah,
you jumped the gun on me there a little bit. No, it's all right.
See,
hey, this is a Right of Center podcast, not the Mike Bell Show.
In case you all know and stuff, like the way we do shit is maybe not the best. We don't do a lot of show prep. We just kind of come up with a topic and like, all right, let's just talk about it. So like me and him don't, conversate like, hey, let's talk about this. So I didn't know he was going to bring it up. So I'm sorry about stepping on your toes.
No, it's good, dude. This is a free form show. This is a free form show. And this is why we're trying to do the Facebook Live. Pretty soon, we're going to start taking callers in on at least one show every week, right? I've already got a Google phone number set up that's going to be live, and we'll be able to bring in callers. And I know some of our founding members, you guys are going to want to be calling in because I know from messages, a lot of you guys have some pretty big opinions. But anyways, if you want to know more about what a founding member is, head over to the website, rockpodcastnation.com, go to pledge your support, everything's there. But what these publishers do is they know already that the DNC and these super PACs and all these lobbyists and these contributors are going to buy all of the books. All right. And because there's a plan for those books. So this is what happens. I'm Kamala Harris. The publisher approaches me and say, hey, I'll give you all this money. All you got to do is put your name on a couple books. All right, sweet. I like money. I'm going to take the money. Right. And then the publisher goes ahead. They create these books. They publish these books. And then the DNC or others go in and they buy all these books up. What does that do? Right? As soon as they track these sales, right? They track the sales of these books. It drives up the value, not the value of the book, but the perception that there's value in this book. So then it tops the New York Times bestseller list. Yeah. All right. And then what happens is it's insider trading essentially, because then what happens is everyone's like, they're looking at the New York Times bestseller list like, well, okay, this is a good children's book. It's ranked, number 3 or 4 in the top sellers list. Let me go buy that book, right? So they inflate. They're basically like advertising for the book, right? So that helps. And then, so where do they buy the book from? So now the DNC has set up they're reselling the books, okay? So I buy it to show demand and then I resell it. It's like inflating stocks is what it is, all right? Okay, but what do you do with all the books that you can't get rid of, right?
Write off as a loss.
And you donate them. You donate them to libraries, right? And you write it off as a loss, or you donate it to schools and you push it in the woke curriculum, or you take it down to the border and you put it in all the welcome bags.
All the little book bags.
Right? That way, every little migrant child who comes across that border is going to see Superheroes Are Everywhere by Kamala Harris. Welcome to America.
Harris, that's the vice president of
the country. I just want to say this right now, guys. I want to come out because we are Facebook Live, and I'm sure the fact checkers are already looking at us, all right? The fact checkers are already out on this story, all right? Yeah. They've already came out on it, and because Reuters published this, within a couple days, and I'm actually going to pull up the clip, guys, so you'll have to bear with me while I pull that up. But a contributor, actually a press guy, asked Jen Psaki about this, and she's like, "Well, I don't know anything about that. I'll have to look into it." And I'll pull it up. Back to that. Yeah, and I'll pull that up. But during all of that riffraff, what I'm suspecting is this, and this is what the fact checkers say: it was only one book in one welcome package. There was only one.
It just randomly found its way in there.
It just randomly found its. How you tell me? How the hell am I? How the hell? Because dude, you were in the military. Right? I was in the military. When you're in those like production type environments where you're just shoving shit in a backpack and sending it on, right? Like initial, like CIP, or when you're loading rounds at the range, you're just like pop, sending it, pop, sending it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing here. You're just shoving shit in a bag and then sending it, shoving shit. You're not going to sit, you're not just going to be like, oh, I'll actually just put one book in this bag and I'm not going to put any books in any other bags, right?
If it was me, I would just shove like random dildos in there and just like it's just funny shit, just to be funny. Little one-offs.
let me pull up see what this Jen Psaki said. I always say Psaki. I know that's not how you pronounce it. Saki. Jen Psaki on Kamala.
It's like something like drink you order at a local freaking Japanese restaurant. Can I get a shot of sake?
Let me see if it shows up here. This is the New York Post. I don't know. I have not listened to this version yet, guys, but let's hear what Jen Psaki has to say here. See if this is even it.
Last couple days in the New York Post that every migrant child being brought to a shelter is being given a copy of her children's book, Superheroes Are Everywhere. Do you know why that is and if she's making any money off of that?
Of the president, of the vice president?
President's book, yeah.
I'd have to check with our Health and Human Services team if you're talking about if they go to shelters or if they go to...
Yeah, in the welcome kit, apparently, there's a copy of her 2019 children's book, Superheroes Are Everywhere.
I'd have to certainly check on that. Here, it's a good book.
And then I've got one more.
Yeah, that's it, guys. And for you guys on YouTube, you guys haven't, on Facebook, you guys weren't able to see that, but you could just search it like I did. Just put Jen Psaki on Kamala Harris book. But anyhow, that's it. This is the point in the conversation, Ryan, where I wanted to ask you about that person from Baltimore. So what happened there? She published a book, right? And then what?
How did it get distributed again? I forget. I don't honestly want to misconvey it and stuff.
It doesn't even matter. What happened was she got in trouble because she was financially gaining by essentially...
her position.
Yes, by using her position. She was grafting. Yeah. All right? Now...
how long did she get in jail anyway? Like less than a year?
I don't know. I didn't want to focus on that. I'm just saying it was something recent that happened.
You know what's going to happen? I'm calling it right now. She's going to end up getting out, early release. She's going to do like less than a year or two. And then she's going to get out. She's going to write another book. Then she's going to run for mayor again, and she's going to win. Telling you.
It's so crazy.
There was another mayor. There's been several mayors from Baltimore who've been arrested, charged, and convicted of fraud. Or not fraud, but corruption and whatnot. And there's another one that's running for, I think, mayor right now, or she ran recently, and does pretty well. Like it does. I don't know what it is about Democrats and convicted felons and corrupt politicians, like convicted corrupt politicians that nobody disagrees about it, but they reelect them, or they almost damn near win. There's a convicted pedophile out of Virginia who got kicked out of office when he went to jail for that. He got out. Guess what? He ran for office and won again.
Where at? Do you know? Like
in Virginia,
what district?
I'll find it.
Yeah, I'll pull that up real quick. But I didn't. Here's the thing: if you use your position to profit while you are in office, you should be held accountable for it. They tried doing it with Trump, just for having hotels that foreign dignitaries may stay in. You remember that.
Yep.
And it's one of these things. And this is what's crazy about this, guys. Everyone would be like, oh, okay, maybe she didn't know. All right. Check this out. Here's strike two. Back in February. All right. So this is kind of like the comparison toward like Kushner and Ivanka and Eric and them guys, right? This is like family kind of using the position.
Joe Morrissey.
What district?
He is
he federal or state?
State, I believe. Yeah, state. He's a Democrat. He's a convicted sex offender in Virginia, and so you can't buy a gun if you're a convicted sex offender. You can't do this, can't do that. But not that you should. But you can run for office and represent the people who have the right state of mind, who are not fucking weirdos. Fucking crazy.
Yeah. And just guys, so you know, we are trying to get more PC on here and drop the F-bomb a little bit less.
But
we'll get there.
When you talk about convicted pedophiles and stuff,
yeah, it's just kind of no room for
window.
it. What I got to do is I got to get the freaking beep button on here and just have it on
standby. Beep, bop, boop.
Yeah. But anyhow, the strike two, right? The second nail in the coffin, if you will. Go ahead.
He's a Democrat, Virginia, District 16. He's a state senator.
What is District 16? Is that Northern Virginia? Do you know? Pull up the map real quick. So second nail in the coffin here for Kamala is this, all right? So back in February, so Kamala Harris has this niece. Her name's Mina, all right? Now, Mina also has a book and a clothing line, okay? Now, what Mina was doing was she was going on this essentially press release for her clothing line. And she was plugging the book, plugging the clothing line, all this other shit. And while she was talking about it, Ryan, what they were doing was they were flashing images of her and the vice president like all over the screen. So essentially what she was doing was using her relationship with the vice president of the United States to profit.
Real quick. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. Chesterfield, Prince George County in Virginia, Richmond City and stuff. So the outside of Northern Virginia, the big Democrat hub is Richmond. And of course he represents them, of course.
Yeah.
Fucking, I guess disgusting.
No, it really is. But hey, he's out of prison. So he should be able to own a gun.
Yeah.
What's Ryan's position, right?
Yeah. But like, it's disgusting that there are people that are willing to vote for him. And guess what?
Yeah.
The people that are voting for him, fucking Democrats.
Likely.
Left of center.
Yeah. Those are your boys. What would suck is that, here's the thing. This is, all right, Rock Nation. This is a philosophical for me right now. I'm coming off the grafting. All right, whatever. Grafting, right? Kamala Harris should be tried for anti-corruption, right? She should be. All right, I'm done with that. All right, there's the news. You can go out there and find it. The fact checkers are already out there. You know, I'm assuming that the DNC probably hired hundreds of people to go and pull all these books out of all those backpacks in the middle of the night, just like they did with so many other things, like cleaning up the Donna immigration facility after Ted Cruz went down there and showed this dire state of events that was going on down there. Regardless, all right, I'm over that. I want to talk about this now, all right? So if you're still with us, thanks for sticking around. We're pivoting a bit here. And here it is, Ryan. You're saying to me, Democrats voted for this pederast, okay? That's what you're saying.
Yep.
This is what bothers me about that. How can the Republicans not put up a candidate that can win against a pederast? You know what I'm saying?
That's another side of the sword.
It is. And you want to blame the Democrats like, oh, you voted for this guy? Well, it's like, it's a...
Give me somebody better.
What did they say on South Park, right? It's a giant douche or a turd sandwich, right? It's like, give me somebody better. Give me somebody that's cogent. Give me somebody that isn't your party line, you know.
Well, I will say,
how about this? How about a centrist or a progressive Republican? You know what I'm saying? Like, we are becoming... Like, legitimately, guys, and I ain't trying to piss anybody off here, hurt anybody's feelings, but this is not the gosh dang party of Trump.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
This is the Republican Party. And then what you're seeing there is it's going radical. You're seeing the Republican Party go radical just as fast as you're seeing the Democratic Party go radical. And I'm not sure if it's a cause and effect relationship there. I'm not sure if you're seeing the right's radicalism as a response to the left's radicalism. I'm not sure you're seeing that. But this is what's happening. You're seeing people like, dude, you know, Ted Cruz came up. He was like magna cum laude from his school, top of class, a great jurist. Like, this guy knew his stuff, dude. He was a very well-respected lawyer coming up, and then went into the Senate and had done a great job there, right? Politics. And now all of a sudden he's like, you kind of got to look at him and be like, bro, that's Trumpian. Like, some of the stuff that you're saying, and that's a made up word, but it's being used a lot. Is like, it's Trumpian. Like, your behavior, it's almost belligerent at times. Like, yes, dude, I like you and I respect that in your face Trumpian personality. I like that. All right. That's for me, but it's not for everyone. All right. Just like on the left, you got people like AOC, and this is really the only parallel I can draw. And of course, they're nothing like each other. But what I'm saying is that if you go X distance from the center, you're going to find AOC about where you find Ted Cruz. They are on the extreme side of republicanism and Republican and Democrat. All right. And it's like, you know, smoke chases fire, brother. You know, the left went fire and then the smoke followed. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, I can't get this. But to speak to your point here, you got a convicted freaking sex offender, pederast. I'm assuming. I haven't read the story. Is he a pedophile? Was it children
the girl
involved?
was less than 18. And actually, one of the defenses that they say is not that bad is the fact that she was less than 18, but he's married to her now. They're married and have kids. She's like 22, I think, now. But that's one of their defenses. Like, yeah, well, he's married to her. So
you got to look at the statutory rape clause, right?
Yeah.
Like, we spoke about this in a different episode. I don't know if it was over on exclusive stuff, guys, that you can find at rockpodcastnation.com, or if it was on one of the free shows. But we spoke about this recently. Ryan, you were 18 and your girlfriend was 16 and y'all were doing, you know, stuff in the woods, right? Was this a similar situation where this is like a 19 or a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old? You know what I'm saying?
She was like 17 or less, and the dude's like 40, 50 years old.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
it's not even close. It wasn't even, not that this is even better, but it's not like he was even 25 and she was 17. It's
Yeah.
like he is like 45, pushing 50, and she's 16, 17 years old.
And I'm not there. I don't know the understand. I don't know it, but clearly it was tried in court and he was found guilty. So going by that standard alone, he's a pederast. All right. Yeah. Now, the fact that the right could not put up somebody that could compete with him, that's a story all on its own. And if we're ever going to like start to find this middle, right, that everyone keeps pushing for. And guys, this is the day we're recording this, and you guys on Facebook can see this. This is the day after Joe Biden just came out and did his speech, right? You know the one word he never said in that speech? Unity. The thing that he ran on.
Yeah.
The thing about shortening the gap between the right and the left, being a president for everybody. Never said it. Right?
Never.
But if we want to find that unity, if we want to be, and again, I'm right of center. I don't identify as a Republican or a Democrat. I am right of center.
Yep.
Right? There is a lot of stuff that the left does that makes sense to me. Hey, hate me if you want to, bub. And there's a lot of stuff that the right does. In fact, there's more stuff that the right does that pulls me right of center. That's where I am right of center. Ryan's similar. That's why the name of this freaking show is the Right of Center Podcast Nation, right? Rock Podcast Nation. All right. But if we are ever going to, we got to get with the times. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying compromise your morals and compromise your values. I'm not saying that, Rock Nation. What I'm saying is you can't, two negatives, right? Like, of course in math, two negatives make a positive, but in life, right? Two wrongs don't make a right. You know what I'm saying? And just because the left went extreme and the right's sitting back looking like, oh shit, look, they're getting all kinds of attention for going crazy. Maybe we should go crazy too. Right. And then we like emerge like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ted Cruz and these people, Marjorie MTG, whatever you want to call her. She's cool. And she got a lot of cool stories and all that stuff, man. And she seems to be on track on the right way of things. But dude, like legitimately, she's talking about Jewish space lasers burning down California. It's like, you can't. You've got to be more careful. If you're ever going to bring anyone over from the left or pull people that are left of center more toward the right and start holding on to that fiscal conservatism and that constitutionalism, if you're going to do that, you have to approach the middle. You have the centrists, the progressives, right? And then you've got the right. And it's like, you got to bring these people back a little bit closer. And to me, you could look at this two ways, double-edged sword, right? You could look at the citizens of 16th District of Virginia, and you can say, I can't believe you guys voted for a freaking pedophile. Or you can say, really? That was the best choice?
Yeah.
Like the guy on the right was so bad that you went and voted for a pedophile?
I will say this, that if I was in a situation, if it was like a Republican pedophile or whatever, and like there was anybody on the left, I would be voting for that person on the left just out of spite. Like, no, fuck you. I will not allow some piece of shit, child pedophile. Because like the girl, I'm looking at a little more details. She was a 17-year-old receptionist at his law firm. He was actually 55. Right?
What?
55 years old, fucking around with his 17-year-old receptionist.
Oh my gosh.
And that's just like, but like if that happened and he happens to be a Republican, he's the one running for office, I don't give a fuck. That would be the first time I ever voted for a Democrat. I don't give a fuck. You could have fucking Barney fucking Fife, Democrat, running for office.
Ryan's on that F-bomb tonight, y'all.
I don't know.
He is on it.
It's just because the shit like that frustrates me. Like, people have no principle, have no fucking basic morals and ethics. Like they literally voted for a Democrat, regardless of what your reason is. You voted for a pedophile.
Yeah, and to speak to that, I was on this Facebook, guys. We're coming up on 40 minutes. We're going to go ahead and cut this one off here in a minute here. But I was on this Facebook post. We'll probably talk about this in the next episode. But we were talking about. And I was in a mostly liberal Facebook group. I get in there and I don't troll. I do more what's called patrol. I just go out there looking for it.
Patrol?
Right? Yeah. I'm patrolling the web. But I go in there and I talk to people. I mean, and because I seriously do, I'm not just a Republican, right? I have some left-leaning tendencies and stuff. So I like to go and I talk to people and stuff like that. Of course, I don't waver on my positions often, unless you come to me well prepared with a good structured argument. But they were saying, look at the election. I mean, it was almost down the middle, the amount of votes that Trump got as opposed to Biden. And you see so many people lumping everybody that voted for Trump into like this cult 45 is what they call it, right?
2 zigzags, baby. That's all I need.
And it's like, so you're saying I'm a racist, just like all the other racists that voted for Trump. You're saying that I'm a cultist, that I'm a Trumpian, that I just blindly follow him because I voted for Trump. And the truth is this, we talked about this recently. I didn't vote for Trump because I necessarily supported Trump. I voted for Trump because he was the best choice. I voted for Trump so that I didn't have to vote for Biden, right? And that's the thing. And then you see a lot of maybe Democrats that instead of voting for Biden because they don't like Biden, they just voted for the next best option, which was Trump, right? And it's like that. It's like Ryan just said, if he's a Republican and the only Republican on the ticket is this pedophile, he's not going to vote for the Democrat. He's going to vote against that pedophile. Yeah. And that, I think, is a lot of what happened in this past election and in previous elections as well. I mean, you guys saw, in 2016, all the polls showed that Hillary was going to win it, right? But then all that, yeah, sure, it's funny, right? Yeah. But all that stuff came out about Hillary and all this other stuff. And again, this is something I want to talk about in the next episode, so I'm not going to get too deep into this, but you got to do more than just not vote. You got to do more than just vote against somebody, right? And it starts at the primaries. It starts with getting engaged civically. It starts with getting engaged. We recently had an election here in Maryland, right, where we were voting for, for me, it was a fifth district representative and stuff like that. And I started looking at them, and it's like, I asked people, who you voting for? Like, oh, I'm voting for this guy. Like, why? Oh, he's already the guy. He must be on. My life is fine. Why vote against him? Like, well, did you consider that maybe this guy has more to offer? Have you read what this guy has to say? No. Well, why are you voting? And there used to be a time, again, it relates back to Jim Crow or whatever, but there used to be a time where you had to take a civics test before you were allowed to vote. You had to be able to name the judges and all this other stuff before they allowed you to vote. You had a civic responsibility to be a well-informed voter. You don't have that anymore, right?
Well, I think that one way to alleviate the problem you just identified, that people just voting for the incumbent just because whatever, term fucking limits. Eliminate that option. Make people actually have to think. Go out and research.
All right, you're pedophile. Maybe, and I don't know the example, but here's an example. Ryan's pedophile. We're going to call him that from now on. I'm going to get that on the soundboard here.
No.
But maybe he was the incumbent and people just went out and voted for him.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe they didn't even know. They're just like, well, life's good. I don't have a problem. My taxes are good. The parks and the streets are maintained and everything's going fine. Yeah, sure. Just going to keep voting for him. I don't even know anything about him. I'm going to keep voting for him. So, you guys, thank you guys for sticking around. That was a good one. Look into this. Let's watch this Kamala thing a little bit and see if anything comes of it. For those of you guys are hearing on listening to this podcast later, the link to the video for Jen Psaki, it'll be down in the show notes, or better, I'm not going to put it in the show notes. If you want to see that video, you can Google it, or you can go over to Rock Podcast Nation on YouTube and watch it there. For those of you guys on YouTube, it'll be there for you. And for those of you guys on Facebook Live, thanks for coming in. We look forward to seeing you guys next time. And with that, Rock Nation, we're out.
We're out.